Okay. I guess we'll go ahead and get started then. And we'll probably have a whole bunch of people jump in like last time. So welcome everyone. Appreciate you joining us today. And so today we are focused on generating images with AI and trying to figure out how do we do that and why would we do that um, and so on. And so, yeah, you want to go to the next slide? So this is kind of our agenda. We're going to do a quick little icebreaker. Then we're going to get into a little bit about how AI works, at least the most popular form of generating images. Then we'll talk a little bit about the good, the bad, the responsible, or the concerning, I guess. I should change that from bad to concerning. And then we'll get into the activities of creating like your own personal avatar, and then creating some holiday images for fun. So if you have a picture of yourself, uh, make sure that's kind of ready. Because you'll upload a picture of yourself to try to create your avatar. If not, we do have a picture for you to work on. It's actually a picture of me. But so we will be using Gemini today. So the just in case anybody came in later, and so it, because Gemini is not currently enabled for employees, you will need to log into a personal account. But if for some reason you don't have uh, a Google account, you can still use Microsoft Copilot to do all this stuff with. The results will just be a little bit different. Um, so, and then also, if you could open up that worksheet, a lot of the prompts that we are going to be talking about are in there, along with some of the frameworks and things to kind of look out for. There will also be links to the data files that we're going to be showing and using today. So you could access those as well through that worksheet document. Any questions so far? Oh, awesome. Then we're just doing a fantastic job. So we want to do a little icebreaker real quick to kind of get your thoughts. What's like the most creative image that you've wanted to create but you couldn't? Maybe because you don't know how to draw or don't have a camera or whatever. Just want to hear what you guys may have wanted to do but haven't been able to do. You could just come off mute and share your ideas. Go ahead, Murr.
Well, in the past, I've wanted to make some really nice desert scenes that have some nice, had some storm clouds that have passed by, and so everything's kind of nice and pretty, no smog, that kind of stuff.
Right. That'd be kind of nice.
Not realistic, but yeah, you know how it is.
I mean, depends on which way you're pointing your camera. As long as it's away from Phoenix, you'll be good. So Beth, I've never created a single image outside of using a camera. See? Are you a photographer? Or are you just like a
wannabe?
a wannabe? Okay, no, that's cool. Because some of your photography skills could be used in this type of thing. So we'll get into that. Images used in my physics class. That's good. Tried some simply drawings.
My bad, simple drawings. I tried some really basic things when I was making something for my granddaughter. And it worked great. I was able to, but I didn't have that many like specific things that I needed. I was just looking for a little girl doing little chores so I could make magnets. But I'm not very creative, so I haven't asked it to do anything creative, but I'm hoping to get this, get my juices flowing with this.
Yeah. One thing I know a lot of people do is they create like coloring books, like images, like outlines, and so they give them to kids to color in. that way they could kind of learn how to do that type of stuff. So, and Claire like to draw. So people talking something into creation. Okay, awesome. Yep, and so that's what we're going to be kind of getting into. Thank you all for sharing. So we go ahead and to the next slide.
Yeah, I just want to add like to Claire's idea. One thing that I've seen AI image generation used for a lot is people draw something out by hand and then they feed it to it and say, hey, turn this into something more for me. And so it can be an extension. Microsoft's Paint now does that as an AI feature built in where you can feed it a drawing and it'll turn it into different styles of images for you.
Yeah, Illustrator, I mean, has sort of, done that for a while, obviously using different techniques, but where you can, where it can address a drawn item scanned in, and then, well, maybe it's Photoshop, but maybe I think Illustrator has a couple plugins for that too.
Yeah, Illustrator, well, Adobe has a long time had features. It started out as Adobe Streamline. It was all about, taking a drawing and turning it into a vector. And so it's built into Illustrator. But there's features in a lot of tools that have been able to do that for a long time. This just makes it to where you don't have to know those tools or go into it. You can just go to a chat and be like, hey, do this to this image for me. So we're going to talk a little bit about the foundations of AI image generation. The most popular type of models are known as stable diffusion models. And when they say diffusion, what they really mean is they're starting with a noise pattern, and then they have an algorithm that goes around the image and just nudges all of the pixels in the direction that it predicts will produce the type of image that it needs to produce. So it just does it in a series of passes, and as you see each pass, the noise starts looking a little more and more like an image until you finally have your fully rendered image. Now, Gordon, anything you want to add on that?
No, I think that's good.
Some of the newer models will actually use separate passes. If you look at some of the older models, they're really bad at doing text, and so they'll use a specialized model that'll go and do the text separately, and that helps it be able to use a couple different patterns to create better images. I'm going to talk a little bit about identifying AI images. Quite often, AI, it really doesn't understand what people are or what things are. It just understands the patterns that it's seen in images. But sometimes it will see a pattern of two people and infer that as being one person. And so that can lead to anatomical or structural errors in the images that are produced, like additional fingers or toes. Quite often you'll have text that looks garbled or like an alien language. There's inconsistent in lighting, where you'll have like one light, but the shadows will be cast in opposite directions. You might see patterns in the image, but then there'll be weird abnormalities in the patterns. You especially see this in backgrounds where it'll try to fill it in, but pay less attention to what it's actually building there. And so you'll see some weird artifacts. There's a couple things that we wanted to share on. One is there's this AI image detector. This is just one example of some tools that are out there where you can feed it an image. And so I'm just going to go ahead and grab an image real quick. And so I'm going to feed it an image that I created earlier this week. That the image is of me, but AI has changed the background and changed the direction that I'm facing. And so it comes back and goes, yeah, it's 100% likelihood that this was made by AI using a diffusion model. And one of the things is when you're using that diffusion model, where you're starting with a static image and pushing things around, there's consistencies in color that it can easily detect as the image being generated by a diffusion model. There are more complicated ones out there that are meant for forensics, but this is just really to help people quickly check if an image that they see on a social media is real or not. And because there has been such an increase in content that is being created by AI, this new content credentials platform has been coming out, which provides a way for people who create images to tag the credentials of how that image was created, what it was originally made on, what alterations were done to it after it was created. So this is something you'll start seeing these icons pop up on images on different social medias and platforms to really try and help you identify what's real. And you'll see a lot of platforms have started putting AI flags when content has been generated by AI.
Okay. So I want to involve you guys. So when you see that phrase, a dog catching a frisbee, what are you picturing inside of your head?
That, you know, like a shepherd dog, you know, like a little black and white circus dog in midair catching a frisbee.
Right. So I see my mini Aussie jumping up, grassy park, dog running, catching a frisbee, dog with a frisbee in its mouth, maybe at a park, a 50-pound dog at a park. Awesome. Yes. So as you can see, like that description is extremely difficult for everyone to picture what it is. So the way I kind of help people understand is that AI is blind. It cannot see what is the image that you have in your mind that you want to generate. And so when you put something in like a dog catching a frisbee, what it's going to do is it's going to try to start making assumptions. And so it'll pick like a mini Aussie or a huge dog, or it'll just pick something, a different breed, or what it may look like. But it may fill in some other things as well. And so this this would be a better description of this image that is being displayed, a golden retriever. So I'm labeling the breed of the dog, jumping to catch a red frisbee midair that was thrown by a married couple in a city park on a sunny day. And so this type of information will help narrow down what the AI will generate, and it'll have less assumptions that it has to make. And this is, I relate this to like the alt text and accessibility that we have to have for blind users. Because a lot of times, like the description of an image like this, maybe a dog catching a frisbee, but it could be missing out key factors and elements of the image that could be important, like the couple in the background or the cityscape type of thing. And so providing a little bit more context in alt images can be beneficial to blind users that may be missing out on that content that you see but aren't describing to them in order for them to understand the context of the image. And so it's the AI is a similar thing. And so the skills that you use to generate your images are the same type of skills that you might use to create alt text for the documents you're creating, the web pages you're creating, and things like that. And so that's kind of what I wanted to make sure to emphasize. And so if you go to the next screen real quick.
Real quick plug to come back in spring for a play date with Murray and Gordon on accessibility.
Yes. And so that basically leads up to this, they call it the describe prompt framework. And so you're just trying to describe the image that you want. You know, what is it that you specifically want to see? What's the environment like? Do you want to have it within like a classroom setting, or at a park, or in your backyard, or maybe, you know, you're throwing the frisbee in your living room or something? But you also want to look at like maybe this artistic style. Like, do you want it in style of like Van Gogh or Pablo Picasso or whatever it may be? Or do you want it like cartoon or photorealistic, that type of thing? The color, so that's like, do you want it to be muted colors? Do you want it to have like pastel colors? Like if you're trying to do an Easter type of image, then you might want to use pastel type colors, or something to set the mood, like dark lighting or bright lighting, you know, depending on how you want to create the image and the sentiment and feelings you might get while looking at an image. Like, how will it be used? So if you say this is going to be used within an educational setting, you may get something different versus saying that, oh, I'm just going to be using this for family and friends. You know, so that kind of can change what is created by the AI. Inclusion, you know, is about accessibility, but also, you know, about the viewers and the people you're going to be sharing it with. You know, will they feel included when they look at it? That also goes into the bias aspects. Like when you, like I mentioned earlier, if your description or your prompt is short, the AI is going to start making assumptions for you, because it's like, I need additional information in order to create this image, so I'm just going to guess and decide on what those factors are. And so that could potentially lead to biased imagery, where, you know, if you try to create an image of a group of like scientists, you may just get a whole bunch of white men instead of having a diverse population of women and like Black individuals, Asians, and so on and so forth. And so that could be also a factor. And then also, you know, you may want to consider ethics. You know, is it, if you're using it for professional purposes, you know, does it meet the standards that you want to that you follow, but also for your organization as well. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, with Beth, like if you're a photographer and you know camera settings like f-stops and lenses, so if you want to do something like a fisheye lens or a macro lens, those types of things, you could add that information into your description of the image you want to create in order to generate something that is similar to that. I will say, like, you don't have to include everything in this when you write your prompts, but if you're not getting something that you want, you may need to start adding more information and details in order to get closer to the output that you desire. Let me see if I tried to get it. Okay, I'm looking at the worksheet that was attached to this meeting. I tried to get AI to create a professional portrait of me, but I never looked like myself. Yeah, so we're going to show you hopefully some tips. And I will say, when I tried to do it like even 6-9 months ago, it had a hard time doing that. It just made a whole bunch of stuff up, but I've been having better luck with it. I've also had better luck with Gemini over like ChatGPT or Copilot. So you may need to use different platforms to try to get that type of image. Yeah, and it reflects the image of the population using the internet. And if you want to go to the next screen, and so just talking a little bit about the good, concerning, responsible. The images can be a great way to like spice up like a presentation or a document that you're working on without having to go through a formal process of having the images generated through media or through marketing or something like that. And so it could help, like I said, improve your alt text descriptions as you develop those skills. It could save you time. But some of the things I want to talk about in terms of the concerning, you know, are the deep fakes, you know, that have been going around on the internet, social media, of a individual saying and doing something that has been contrary to everything that they've been doing before. Like I saw one recently of Neil deGrasse Tyson saying that he accepts that the world is flat, and it was actually him showing is like, see, this isn't me, it's like, and so the deep fakes is something to be concerned about, and bias representations we talked about. And part of that also is the data labeling that happens on the back end for the training data. Historically, the labeling has been kind of crappy because it's kind of at a high level, and so it doesn't get into like the nuances of things. For example, like a AI can be used to try to tag images, but we've been noticing that because of how it learned, it flags images of like pregnant women who are like showing their belly as being sexual and adult in nature because they're showing more skin than normal. And so it doesn't take into account that it's a pregnancy photo, and so those types of things can uh, be included inside the biases. And so being aware of that will help you understand what may occur when you're generating images. Accuracy, misinformation, like I said, like when it has to make assumptions in order to create the image, that's when you're going to introduce accuracy and misinformation issues. Copyright, uh, last I heard, the Copyright Office for the US at least stated that anything that's generated 100% by AI cannot be copyrighted. But if you edit the image, then the edited parts of the image can be copyrighted by you, but the non-edited parts cannot be copyrighted because it's AI generated. And so it's very messy. There's also the lawsuits about using copyrighted images to train the AIs and things like that. And so there's those concerning aspects, and the responsible, uh, like in the previous workshop, obviously don't share information like personal information, sensitive data, especially when it comes to like your job and the data you are working with. Um, and you're responsible. And one of the key factors, especially when it comes to images, um, you cannot use Rios or Maricopas like branding and mascots. So I was hoping that we could use the Rio mascot to try to do some fun images with it, but I was told we cannot do that. And so I just want to make sure that's highlighted for everyone. Only marketing can create images of Splash, for example. And so don't use him or it with anything in terms of the images you generate. Go ahead. So yeah, do you want to go to so we'll go into our first activity in terms of creating your own avatar. Did I? And so like this is just some examples like that. The one that Jason showed earlier, that's one he generated. And then the other one was one I generated that I'm using for the Student Success Conference later this week. And so do you want to go ahead and do the demonstration, Jason?
We're jumping into Gemini now. And so what we were going to do on this is if you go to the sheet that was shared earlier, we have a bunch of prompts in here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this prompt in, and then I could either drag an image into the chat or I can go ahead and upload. So I'm going to go ahead and upload real quick. And now it has a professional headshot with this. So we're going to try this simple prompt, create a professional headshot based on this photo, business attire, clean background, corporate photography style. Now it does take a little bit of time for it to go through. Generally, if I know I'm going to need to do images, I'll make sure I have something else to go, but Gemini comes back pretty quick, and there is a professional headshot taken from this image in different attire and different background.
And so basically right now, we want to give you time to give it a go yourself. So if you have a picture yourself, go ahead and try to go through the process that Jason just demonstrated and try to create like a professional avatar for yourself that you could use. But also have fun with it and you try different styles. If you want to make yourself into like a superhero, that could be a fun, interesting way, or painting style. And if you don't have an image of yourself, in the document, there is a link that you can go to. I uploaded a picture that I used to create that image that we showed earlier. And so you could use a picture of me to create an avatar of me if you wanted and have fun with it. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Gemini isn't available for your work account currently, but if you have a personal account, you should be able to access it. But if you do not, you could also use Copilot. That you can log in with your work account, your Maricopa account. And basically, it allows you to do the exact same thing as Gemini. You could either do text or pictures in the same area. So you could follow the same process for there. The images may be just different because every model produces things differently based upon how it was trained and how it flags things. And so,
So one thing that I saw Claire mentioned is she used Nano Banana. And so the image model that Gemini uses on the back end is Nano Banana. So when you go into Gemini and you do a chat and then you say, ask it to generate an image, it's actually feeding it over to Google's Nano Banana, which is feeding it back. Same with ChatGPT. When you ask it to generate an image, it's feeding it over to their Dolly model, which is then creating the image and handing it back to the chat.
do you want to share yours, Murray? I could ask that because he's my brother. If anybody else is willing to share theirs, I'd love to see what you guys make and create.
I'm having trouble uploading my photo into Gemini. It has the page, how can I help you today? And it has about the Gemini and Chrome, ask about a page, Gemini, but then where it says type to ask about a tab, that's where I am.
Hmm. Could you share your screen?
It sounds like he's getting Gemini in Chrome rather than the Gemini chat website.
Interesting.
Yeah, Murray, you can't attach, but you should be able to share your screen if you'd like to share the image.
See it now?
Okay, that does look like the Chrome thing, right? Yeah. Okay, can you open up Chrome again? Yeah, because Chrome, they started to push it out to as an extension as well, and that's what that looks like. And so I don't know what the limitations are for that. Yeah, so actually go into your address bar.
Okay. Oh,
And just type in gemini.google.com.
Yeah, and that other window you can probably close, but yeah, that is the Gemini in Chrome. So that is a specialized version of Gemini meant just to help with your web browser. So it can like look through your tabs and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, so you can close that window right there if you wanted, or yeah, just move off the way. Then you should be able to hit the plus sign right there to upload your picture.
okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. If you want to stop sharing, okay, awesome, thank you. And then Murray. Nice.
What's interesting is, so I uploaded, so this came off of this picture, which is, halfway there, right? So I uploaded this picture and I got this.
So this actually points out one thing I was going to mention earlier is once you start a chat, it feeds the whole chat back in each time. So any results you've gotten earlier in the chat will affect other images you get later. So sometimes when you're like, oh, I don't like the way that first image turned out, you really do have to start a new chat, feed the image in again in order to get it to reset. And so when I was trying the postcard one earlier, it like put some random people in an image and I just couldn't get it to remove them. So I had to start the chat over and do it again, and I got what I was looking for.
I start a new chat to see what it does.
And,
What?
whoa.
Well, now it doesn't look like you.
Wow.
Welcome to Hamilton.
Right. And I think it's probably because your eyes are covered up by the sunglasses, so it has to fill in that information because it doesn't have that.
Fascinating.
But yeah, Shelly, sometimes the picture you use can affect it. Like my beard actually doesn't get connected on the sideburns, so it just follows my jawline. But all the AIs always want to connect the beard. And so like the picture I have for myself, I actually have to go in and edit it a bit more inside of like Photoshop in order to get kind of like the look I actually want. And I tried to create different ones. Like, so when I face on, that was kind of worse for the AI. So I tried to do more of a profile, semi-profile looked so they could see my jaw and all that stuff. And so it's just something to kind of keep in mind. This lighting is also type of something, is another issue. I believe like the recommendation is to not smile as well, because sometimes the smiling and the teeth can kind of get in the way. But that may be kind of more for older models. I'm not sure about the newer models.
So one thing that I'll do when I'm actually trying to make a real professional headshot that I know I'm going to use somewhere, is I'll actually give it multiple pictures. So I have a head-on photo, I have a side profile, I got a couple different lightings, and I'll give it like 3 to 5 images and say, I provided you 5 images of me, use them to make it. And when you give it those different details, it helps get a lot more accurate. And one thing is, yeah, when I'm doing like my own facial hair, I actually describe the mustache and the goatee separately, and that helps it get a lot more accurate than when I just tell it to do it as one pass. So describing them separately gets a lot more accurate. So sometimes you have to break out those details. They might think to us, oh, it's facial hair, and just describe it and be done. But it really does help when you like break things out and describe the individual parts.
So Patricia, it got rid of like one of the earrings then?
Yes, it
Or
makes
did it
the
have like
earring,
loop?
it makes the earring smaller, but only one.
Whoa.
Maybe one earring is considered more professional by the model.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of an interesting.
Or maybe smaller equals less. So they give you less, they give you one.
Right. Anybody else want to share before I move on to the next one? Ooh,
That
there
Jason?
you go.
Yeah, I thought I shared mine.
I
I,
love
I
that.
think Murray saw it.
It was cool.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it was frightening. I'll share it again real quick. Oh, where did you go?
That was how Gina comes to work every day.
Like that was edited. It looked like the Gina we know.
I know. You can only afford one earring.
Interesting.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh.
I asked also less showy and the background and then the dress because she has a dress that was too showy and that was the thing.
Interesting.
You look like Jennifer Lawrence.
That's what I was thinking too.
I was thinking Nicole Kidman.
Oh, that's another. Yeah. Yeah, David. Like in terms of the pictures, I think I would probably say within the past 3 months, the models have gotten really, really good at creating pictures from others. Because I tried to create pictures in the past and I always struggled with it, but it's getting really good and amazing and scary on how good they are. It's like
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just asked for to take the photo and then have like a science lab in the background and then put me in a lab coat as a scientist. And it's like, oh my gosh, it is as if the actual picture of me in a lab is right there. It is scary.
nice. It kind of looks like you have a one green and one blue eye. Awesome.
Really?
She's the David Bowie of the media team.
Right. Awesome.
I should I should ask it to put a red lightning stripe right down my face.
Just like Harry Potter.
Awesome. So
Right? Split my forehead. But
let's go.
yeah, no, I thought it did pretty well considering the original picture was a little bit in shadow. So it made my eyes dark because of that. But and then I didn't put the picture back in like Jason suggested, as far as like restarting the chat. I just simply asked it to redo the original business request, and it did pretty good, I guess, at providing me the same image that it had given me, except that my eyes were blue.
Interesting.
Yeah, it didn't necessarily need to have me start that over again, but probably you get better results if you do start over again if you need a lot of changes.
Yeah. And there are some platforms out there where you could actually just draw around a part of the image and have it just edit that part. And so not all platforms do that, but there are some out there. So the next activity that we'll get into is just having some fun, creating some holiday postcards or something like that. Since we got Thanksgiving and the winter break and a whole bunch of different, Christmas and Hanukkah and a whole bunch of other type of festivities. And so this one, I basically used the pictures in the data file area. If you look at the worksheet, the I use the picture that I have there plus the picture of the antlers as well as the picture of the Christmas tree, and it says combine all of these into a holiday image. And so that's what it generated. And I did, let me see if I could, I'll share the specific.
Seemed to do pretty well on the hands there.
Yeah, it's getting better at that type of stuff. So this is the.
That's what he looks like every Christmas, just so you know.
So, right. So that's what prompt I used. So it's a little bit different than I think the one in the document. So I started adding a little bit more information, smiling, opening presents, photorealistic and early morning winter light coming in through the window, that type of thing, to try to, so that helps try to set the mood and everything and the lighting. So basically what you can do is either pick a couple of the pictures that are within that data file folder. Do you want to demonstrate this one, Jason, as well? Or yeah, it's a great thing to do, Shelley. Because a lot of families are growing up, and it's hard to get people in place, and you may have kids at that age who are like, I don't want to dress up for this. I don't want to wear that ugly sweater. So you could actually force them through AI to wear that ugly Christmas sweater, that type of thing. But it's also kind of fun because
Gordon, you've created chaos.
I know, right?
Stay away from my kids.
I love this. This is great.
But yeah, you could have a lot of fun with this. Just change. But I was going to say, like this method where you could upload several different pictures, you could have a lot of fun with it. One idea that I've heard is like upload a picture of a horse, a picture of you, and like a picture of like a ball, and you could create a picture of the horse standing on the ball with you riding the horse type of thing, or something crazy like that. So you could put yourself into different crazy situations or fun situations.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. But it could also be like in terms of taking Shelley's idea to the professional area. Like if you wanted to create a team image, you could use like just images of your team members instead of trying to get everyone at the same place at the same time, which may also be good for teams that may be at different locations, and so that would be kind of hard. So this could be a way to create team images. Interesting that it.
It's weak.
I know.
Yeah. I say I wasn't having as good a luck with these images as I was having on Friday. Today they have not been coming out so good. But it almost does look like my Christmas tree on the second story of my house. But yeah, didn't do a good job with that.
That's fun.
Yeah, so, anybody else want to share? Has anybody tried other images? Nice. Nice.
That was from the picture before, no? The Nicole Kidman before.
Right.
Anybody else like to share what they got?
Yeah, mine didn't turn out so good, but
I mean, I think it's good to share those types of examples. Like, when we looked at Jason's, the hat was kind of all funky. So in my opinion, those are good because you see the issues that AI will have. And so you have to figure out, how do I get past this and things like that. So it's always good to learn from those problems as well. You've been too busy listening, Shelley.
I'm
Well,
such a
thanks for
good
listening.
student, I know.
And the faculty could do like one big picture with all their adjuncts. Nice.
Very nice.
I couldn't get it to get rid of the W days. It originally said I wanted it to say happy holidays, but it says W days.
Interesting.
Yeah, in that case, when I run into that, I might start a new chat, feed that image back in, and say, "Hey, just fix the text on this," or take it into Photoshop and do it manually. But yeah, sometimes when you're like, "Oh man, it's almost perfect," you can sit there and just hammer at it, and it won't get what you're asking. But yeah, just start a new chat and feed it back in, and get some different results.
Yeah. Awesome. So hopefully that gives you some fun ideas to try over the holidays. And so let me, where are we with our little presentation? Right. Oh. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and click again. I guess I had these things animated and they shouldn't have been animated. So basically, I want to just kind of show a little bit of some of the other platforms that are out there. Like Jason mentioned earlier, Dolly's is part of ChatGPT. It's from OpenAI. There's Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion, if I remember correctly, that's open source.
Yes.
And then Adobe Firefly. From my understanding, we are becoming a creative campus with Adobe, which means I believe everyone will have access to that at some point in time. And so hopefully we'll have that available for everyone to kind of use. Flux is another one. I actually haven't used it yet, but it is one. Then Sea Dream, it's by the same people who do TikTok and ByteDance. And so there's a lot of different platforms out there. These are just some of the more popular ones that I've heard about. But again, you could just give it a go and try. They, with the exact same prompt, you'll actually get very different pictures. I find that Dolly, which is also what Copilot uses, it's very, it uses a lot more soft lighting and coloring, and so it looks very AI generated. Even when you call for like photorealistic, it has a little some of those elements to it. And so that's why I've actually been liking Gemini and Nano Banana more recently for generating images. Next slide. So as we come to the end, the encouragement, what's your next steps? Just go out and try to create more images. Hopefully generate some ideas. In fact, I would love to hear if you have any other ideas that you want to try to do after this.
Well, I got a Christmas one.
Oh, yeah?
Let's see if I can find it.
Fun.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
That's great. I love it.
Oh, you're suddenly married now.
I know. I was like, whoa, that's weird. I guess that's where it makes a lot of assumptions.
Yep.
You know, although I would say that steaming mug of hopefully coffee in the background is not necessarily inaccurate. So anyway, that was kind of cool.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And so then the final thing is just copy this and paste it in the chat. Oops. Maybe. So if you can complete that survey, let us know how you felt this went. That way we could try to improve it for the future. Also, I forgot to do it on the first one, so I wanted to make sure to do it on this one. But any feedback that you could provide us would be greatly appreciated. And other than that, does anybody have any questions that we can try to answer? Awesome. Glad you liked it, Beth.
Yeah, this was cool.
Yep. So the
I mean,
next,
you know,
Love it.
if we ignore all the other issues, but yeah, it was really fun.
right. Yeah. So, yeah. So at the next one, the next play date is in January. January 27th, I think.
You know, what could be fun is if you asked people from here if they create, and maybe from the last one as well, to, you know, they have something that they generated that was fun, you can add that to the wave, so it might encourage people to go to the next one. You know, so something that's just like, hey, look what we learned.
That's
So
a good
it's-
idea. Thank you. Yeah. So maybe we could, if people are willing to share some of those pictures that you've been generating, we could use that in like the wave announcements and stuff like that to try to get people, hey, this is what some of the people are making.
A little hook.
Yeah, maybe include our prompt.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be kind of funny to maybe include, you know, 2 versions of the same prompt.
Right. Awesome.
Thank you for
Okay.
together, Gordon. This is great.
Yeah. Glad you guys are finding it enjoyable and informative. So with that, unless you guys have additional questions, I think we could call it a little bit early. You guys get 4 minutes to finish eating lunch or anything.